Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know I've been a bit MIA, but we're back here to find out how your twin flame is doing, what are they thinking, some spicy late night thoughts about you, and whether or not they will come towards you. So thank you so much for joining me today. And for all of you who have liked this video, subscribed to the channel, or even bought me a deck, my wish lists are below, and I can give you a generic reading like this sent to your email inbox as a thank you. So let's just take a deep breath and connect with that person on our mind. And see if we can tap into their energy. Let's see what messages they have for us today. So our first card here is the Fool in reverse. This is a really beautiful deck. I feel like they want to tell you that they have embarked on a journey that sort of went sideways. That's what I'm getting here. There was hopeful energy. Something went wrong. Yeah, because here we have the Eight of Swords here. And I honestly feel like this was of their own doing. It was like they're overcoming self-doubt at the moment. Maybe this is about you. Wow, we have a lot of major energy here. The Magician, again, starting again in this situation. Reclaiming personal power. Let's see what this means. And wow, the Emperor in reverse. I promise I shuffled all of this. So huge energies to start. On the bottom, we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And I think it's worth showing you guys this card because this is the energy this person is trying to get to. And I think this is the energy you're in. So this person really wants to keep up with you. They see that you are being mindful about money. Maybe you're taking care of someone at this point. You're definitely taking care of yourself. And you're kind of at one with your surroundings or the earth, or you've made peace with something in your life. And they definitely haven't. And I'm getting for a lot of these people, it has something to do with family. So this could also be about the past, like, if I were to translate this directly into words they would speak to you, they would say, I tried to come towards you. I told you I was damaged and you didn't believe me. Or I had hope for myself, but I knew that it would always end up like this. Just some kind of self-deprecation. But I do see that they want you to know there has been another start. So if this is somebody that you have met recently, they are picking themselves up by their bootstraps very quickly to return to this sort of kingly energy that will meet the Queen of Pentacles where she's at. And for some of you, this person is a woman, I gather. But let's clarify these cards now for some deeper messages with our Tarot de Fuego deck. This is also a new deck for me. But yes, I do see that they are rising out of maybe mental illness, depression, self-deprecation, something like this. We have the Four of Pentacles, very interesting Four of Pentacles here. I feel like this person, when they met you, they were living in some sort of frivolous manner. There was a frivolity here they were not aware of. They thought they were this emperor, but in reality, they were the fool. And they don't want either of these energies at this point. It's like, this person maybe feels a bit directionless. They definitely miss you, but they're staying away at the moment because they don't want to confuse your energy with theirs. They want to know distinctly who they are. And the Four of Pentacles is somebody who traditionally is a miser, who might hold on to money. But I think in this context, they spent it quite freely. They were, some of them, very nomadic, certainly with the Fool here. And I think to a certain extent, they're looking at a more sedentary life. You have made them realize they want to put down roots. The Queen of Wands here, lots of queens. This could be a sapphic relationship for some of you. That doesn't have to resonate, but I also see fire and earth here. So Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, Capricorn, Libra is air. That might be for somebody. Taurus or Virgo. And certainly Aries, again, is reinforced with the Ram. So yes, they want to tell you that they were blind about something. And I think it was the very reason that they turned away, because your power made them feel, well, there's so many messages. They turned away from you because of your power, but they also turned away from themselves because they didn't recognize they had that same power. There's something about their family here. Maybe they were raised traditionally. Maybe there was a huge misogynistic influence in this person's life, who just sort of shaped their worldview and made them feel like they couldn't do anything without their country, without their family, without being in a certain role. And this is what they're breaking out of right now. It's a beautiful sentiment. Clarifying the Magician here is the Queen of Cups. So many queens. That's so amazing. I do see that this person is now surrounding themselves with powerful women, or stepping into that powerful feminine part of themselves. And especially if your twin is a man, and gender isn't really specified here, but healing that masculine side, creating a deeper connection with the feminine, healing wounds surrounding the mother, sister, past loves. That's sort of what's happening here. There's an empowerment going on around the feminine, an embracing of feminine values and ideals. We have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse here for the Emperor. So again, changing the role that this person is playing in the world. So if your twin is a man, maybe this person has absorbed the idea that a man has to be a certain way. He has to be a king. He has to be in his leadership energy. This person is sort of rejecting all of that. They're like, I can get the Ten of Pentacles a different way. And maybe that's the thing that this person embarked on. They set out to be the CEO of a company. They opened their own company. They thought they had to project this energy. And in reality, either they got this Ten of Pentacles and didn't want it anymore, or more likely they realized they didn't want the Ten of Pentacles. They wanted this sort of nomadic lifestyle, or they wanted stability in a different manner, a stability that comes from within, not in the material world. That is what I see here. So before we move on to what this person wants to say to you, the Seven of Cups here on the bottom represents choices, and we have all these apples. So I'm going to say something very deep, and as many of you know who follow me, this is a lot of what my channel is about, but this reminds me of Sylvia Plath's excerpt from the Bell Jar about fig trees. So for those of you who don't know, Sylvia Plath was a beautiful writer, but her life was taxing for her, and she is no longer with us as a result of deciding to not be here. And she says that she was paralyzed by the choice of every fig on this tree that represented a different dream. And in the end of the day, she just was so overwhelmed by them, she let them all fall. But not this person. This person is realizing that it is the transformation that comes from each of these dreams, little or large, that this person is after. They're falling again in love with life and how they orient to life. So I see somebody overcoming a major amount of depression here. So if you like this reading so far, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Every little bit helps me get seen. And thank you to everyone who's purchased a reading on Etsy. Really, it's so nice to read for you. I'm sure I'm connecting with some of you here. Thank you for your energetic and monetary contributions. So this person says, sometimes I imagine how my life with you would feel. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like you were this sort of shining beacon for this person. And when they met you, it was so easy to just put all of their hope on you. They sort of ignored themselves. Maybe you resonate with that. I've been thinking about the last time I saw you. So this is a very reflective time. We just had a fuller new moon in Scorpio. I can't remember. But likely this is sort of what's going on for this person. And I do sense that they sort of lack the courage to come back to you at this point. It sort of feels like they if they came back to you, they would feel like it was a failure on their part because they don't have that last little bit. They don't have what they feel like you would want them to be. So it's sort of this energy of like, I'm becoming my own person. But is that somebody that's going to fit into your reality? Maybe you want a traditional person and you won't accept their non-conformity, something like this. Interesting. So I'm curious, since we know this person is missing us, what do they want to do? Late at night, what are they thinking about? And I'm going to, hopefully these cards will behave and let me put them on the screen here, but if not, I will just talk about it. So we have abduction fantasy, and I think this sort of goes along with what we're seeing here, certainly with our Eight of Swords. For those of you who are interested in rope play, this is definitely a factor here. It's interesting, right? It's twofold. The beautiful thing, and I just had a session with someone, is that it can be quite meditative despite these sort of torturous roots, right? It goes along with our theme of reclaiming, because we are now reclaiming this ancient act that used to restrain prisoners as something sensual or meditative, and the healing qualities are enormous. So this person, it's such a sweet energy. They want to sort of steal you away from your life and, of course, eliminate all the worries in your life, while at the same time giving you sort of this ultimate pleasure and a taste of the person that they're becoming, someone who has started to slow down and really enjoy the fruits of their labor, or just fruit for whatever reason is coming up in general, the juice of life, the things that bring them joy. So I see that for someone. That's interesting. And if I had to guess at this person's constituency, I would say there's kind of a switchy energy here. They wouldn't mind as well if you restrained them, let's just say. Oh, nice and chase, role play. So this person is also interested in trying on different hats with you. I see makeup, I see costumes, I see different sort of roles. So it's not that this person, as a non-traditional person, has just thrown the baby out with the bathwater and said, I don't ever want this energy in my life. It's about how. And maybe in terms of a play sense, that's where that person is going to exert that authority. But they don't necessarily want to be the head of a company or have so much responsibility in life. And we do see that in the community for anyone who is curious. A lot of times, the role that you play in the workforce has a lot to do with the opposite thing you want in the bedroom. So something to consider for you as well. And I won't put this one on the board, but we do have tied and vibed. So again, this person is all about restraining you. They have this possessive energy. Scorpio certainly comes to mind, where they just kind of want to keep you all to themselves and make sure you can't leave consensually, of course. They just want you around them all the time. You're still a very guiding force in their life. As you can see through this black smoke, it still feels sort of binding in a way. And they do feel that over the bond. I think with twins, that is certainly a factor here. The mirroring, the bondage, this sort of feeling of like, I didn't choose this, it chose me. Really wonderful stuff. Okay. So let's move on to the last portion of our video. It will be short and sweet here. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat below. Comments are welcome, things about your own journey if this is resonating for you. Okay. As for whether or not this person is coming towards you, I would venture to say that you will hear from them in some way. We have compromise, forgive, and work it out. Whatever happened in this connection, this person feels remorseful about it. On some level, they're sort of sad to go through this journey without you, but they recognize that it's absolutely necessary. So they want to communicate to you at this moment that they're sorry that they didn't describe in detail everything they were going through, that you couldn't come with them, that they didn't want you to move with them or move in with them, something about moving, and that they want to have a conversation about it. They have forgiven you if you are the person that has done something or refused the call, as we say. But yeah. And then we also have, isn't that interesting? I said Libra before, air sign. So this is just confirmation for someone that this person has air in their chart that's sort of playing a role here. So if we think of Aquarius as a non-conventional non-conformer, the non-conventional non-conformer of the zodiac, there's a deep mission. And I'll leave you with this. This person wants you to know that they have discovered what they want to do now. It's deeply entrenched with who they are. And while they miss you, they feel like this is something that they have to cultivate so they can bring something to the table. There's sort of a sense of a maturity gap here, whether in age or in spiritual maturity. And I would venture to say that you will hear from them by the next moon cycle. It could be over the 5D. It could be a text message. If you want to know, book a reading with me. That is one of the nice ways to sort of feel in this moment what this person may or may not do as it pertains to you guys. But there's also, for someone here with Gemini energy, a sort of indecisiveness. And I think that that's where the feeling of bondage comes from. They're just not really sure every time they make a decision if it's the right one. So for that person, if that resonates with you, I would definitely send them love over the 5D, send them this beautiful energy, remind them of their queenliness or their ability to tap into that feminine aspect of your connection. And I think that that will strengthen that person's resolve. Because what we don't want to happen is to have this person sort of live in the space of would-be's and have-nots and daydreams and not make anything actually happen. But I don't see that for most of us here. So get at me if you feel like that's sort of where your twin is at, and we can pull a couple of cards to figure out why that is happening. But I do see that for the majority of people tuning into this general reading, you're going to hear from this person. You may be physically or emotionally distant, but that gap is shortening as the days go by. So I hope you've enjoyed this reading. It's a very positive message. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have a suggestion for what you want the next reading to be, I love those. Or just say hi. Anywho, I'm here for you, and it's been my honor to read for you today, and I'll see you next time for the next Pick a Pile reading.